Hey guys, and welcome back to our latest edition of Editing Your Designs. Now today we have an awesome design that I'm so excited to break down and put my own twist on, and it's this Lakers championship Kobe Bryant graphic from PKP Creative. PKP Creative reached out on Instagram and said, hey, big fan, if you're continuing the Editing Your Design series, I'd love for y'all to use one of mine. And he sent over this PSD, and I'm so excited to break this down for you guys today. PKP has some awesome work, so make sure you hit the link down in our description to check out his Instagram. Seriously, he is an awesome designer, so make sure you check that out. But here is his design that he put together right here, and he really did some sharp work. There are just a few tweaks that I would make layout-wise and a couple of color correction things to really bring my own twist to this graphic, but let's dive in. So I'm just gonna hit image and then duplicate to duplicate this image. And like I always do for this series, I love going through and just turning off all of the effects and stuff and just seeing the bare bones of the design. So you can see he had a color correction folder right here, which is interesting. I've seen, I think in 2 Editing Your Design videos so far, I've seen just color correction adjustment folders like that. That's not something I do personally, but maybe it's something I should be doing. So very interesting. He also has this lighting right here, which I think is kind of just like a vignette with kind of a yellow fill. So that's pretty cool. I'm just gonna turn that off for now. He has this champions text in this font. I'm trying to see what this background is. It looks like a wood background kind of below that. I'm gonna turn that off. LeBron, AD, and then we have our Kobe statue. That is kind of interesting how he did the cutout around the banner. You would think that it would just be able to sit on top, but we'll see. The trophy right here with the Kobe Bryant reflection, that's really cool, awesome little detail there. And then our background. Okay, and then you can see our background here is just an image of a Lakers game, I guess. So what we're gonna do to start off, I'm just gonna go into this background, and I'm just gonna delete this layer mask right here. I don't think there's really any need to mask out Kobe when he's already gonna be placed on top. I'm also just gonna bring it down a little bit like that so we can see the full detail of our banner. And then I'm going to turn off the curves for now. I also just wanna make our background black and white. Not that there's anything wrong with having it in color, but I just think when you kind of like mute the colors like that, it's better just to go ahead and just do black and white. And so let's bring all these layers back real quick. So we have our LeBron, AD, Kobe, and trophy. And the first thing that really stands out to me about this design is kind of the layout. And it looks like everything's kind of smushed through here, and then we have like this one off-center thing, and there's this gap over on this right side. And so when editing this design, I want to go through and tweak it a little bit to where it's more symmetrical. And I'm going to do that just by taking out this one Kobe cutout right here. And I'm just going to take the trophy and move it to the center, because I think that's the cool focal point. Like this reflection in the trophy is an awesome design element. So I think it deserves to be centered like that. And I'm just going to scale it down a little bit. And now that we have that, I want to go through and reposition AD and LeBron to fit. But before we do that, I'm just going to turn off all of these adjustments on AD and turn off all of the adjustments on LeBron. So curves, 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 just like that. And so we want to, oh, that's weird. Oh, it looks like his mask isn't linked up. So I just went through and relinked that back up. Speaking of which, huge props to him for using masks instead of just using an eraser tool or something like that. This is the way you're supposed to do it. If you want to see how you should be masking in Photoshop, I'll put a card right up in the top right on the right way to cut out players in Photoshop. I highly recommend, if you're unsure of whether you're doing masking right or not, there's a good chance you're probably not. So check out that video for the right way to do it. But great job for PKP Creative in this design. And I just want to center this up a little bit more. And then I'm going to shrink LeBron and AD a little bit by hitting Command T and scaling those down. I think they're important like design elements, but I really want the focal point to be this middle trophy. No, I'll leave it like that. And I like where we are with that so far. Now there's one thing, it might be a little bit of a small detail that I noticed with this, but the two yellows in the Laker jerseys seem to be off a little bit. You'll notice this yellow is kind of more mustardy and this one is more neon yellow. And so I just want to go through, and I like this shade of yellow better than this shade of yellow personally. So I want to go through and see what I can do about that. So I'm just going to go to hue and saturation and then tweak the hue a little bit. And that looks closer to me. That these two yellows are matched. So good for that one. It also looks like, I guess AD is taller than LeBron. Is he? Yeah, I think he is. So I'm just going to leave those just like that. Now let's just turn on our color correction layer for kicks and see where we are. Okay, so this is where we are so far. And honestly, I already like these changes that we've made. What I want to do now is go through and tweak this champions design. It looks like there's a little bit of a... What's going on here? Oh, he masked out. Okay, well we're just going to bring that back. Oh, that's not what we want. We're just going to bring back that part of our champions text. And he has this wood background. Oh, and he has this Lakers text, or this Lakers Staples Center image overlay in the text. But I kind of like it without it, to be honest. I'm going to add a little effect to it here in a minute, so. And he has the wood overlay. Okay, I see. That's pretty cool. I'm just going to go without it for now. And what I want to do is actually just do a gradient, which is pretty simple, but it is what it is. So I'm just going to choose a shade of black, tap G on my keyboard to bring up the gradient, and then drag and click. And that might not be like the coolest solution, but honestly, gradients work well. And now that we have a gradient, I think we can probably take LeBron and AD and move them up a little bit. Because we want to keep the margins kind of on the bottom like we did. If you watched the editing your designs part 2 video, talking about margins and like giving proper spacing to everything. Now we have champions right here. I want to go over and just take this gold texture. I literally just, you can see I googled gold texture. I'm just going to click and drag it into my document. Nothing like some good gold overlays. I'm just going to bring it above our champions text. And yeah, I like the way that looks. Position it kind of like that. And there we have it. And I really like the layout of this so far. I think it's more symmetrical and just kind of easier for your eye to follow. It really gives like a nice emphasis to the trophy in the middle. Let's turn on our color correction that we had. And that's looking pretty good. My next step I want to do is actually go through and work on the color correction itself. So there's lots of elements in this design. Looks like those are kind of like a corner shadow. Okay. These are particles. Cool. Color balance. Okay. Exposure. More color balance. Channel mixer. Color lookup. Okay. And then lighting, color fill. There's a lot of color correction layers here. So it looks like these really aren't, that one is a little bit, I'm gonna turn that one off. Those weren't really doing all that much. This color lookup really is the main filter that's kind of giving this nice tone to everything. I like the way it looks a lot, not gonna lie. Oh, it's locked, so we have to go through and unlock our color correction. And I'm just gonna turn the fill down on that just a little bit, because we want some of our original colors to shine through a little bit better. If you can't tell I'm ready already, I'm just going through this for the first time. This isn't like pre-recorded or anything. Okay, I like the way that one looks. That kind of gives it a green tone. I'm gonna delete that one. I like these shadows right there. Okay, so those are pretty cool. I like the way this is looking like this. I'm gonna turn my brightness up so I can see it a little bit better. So we have that color correction, and I went through and just made a couple small tweaks there, but what I wanna do is add my own adjustment layers on top of this. So I'm gonna go through and add a levels adjustment tool, and that'll allow me to control some of the lighting in the scene a little bit better. So as you can see, I can bring my brightness up and bring my lighting and just play around with how it looks. I think that looks pretty good. So you'll notice the before and an after. It just gives some nice light to our scene. Also, now that I have this right in front of me, I think these guys need to be a little bit bigger. And let's move LeBron over to the right a little bit more. And AD can stay kind of like that. Also, we have our champions text. I want to scale that up just a little bit. Where did you go? Champions text. Oh, right here. And I'm just going to scale that up and move it up a little bit more. Also scale up our gradient just a little bit more and kind of position it like that. Now I want to go through to these cutouts themselves. He had some adjustment layers to it, so let's go through and see. Okay, a little bit of a shadow on AD, a little bit of a highlight, and some selective color. I'm gonna get rid of the selective color. I like the highlight a little bit. Let's turn the fill down. And that looks good. It just gives like a nice little highlight on his face. Let's see what he did for LeBron. So we have shadow here, a little bit of a highlight, and then a little bit of a accent under his arm. Again, I'm just going to turn on that and turn the fill down a little bit. That looks pretty good. Let's see what he did for his camera raw filter. Okay, so we have the texture up really high, clarity, and dehaze. I might turn my texture down and clarity up a little bit. Actually, no, I like the way he did it originally. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now it looks like, I like the way this is shaping up so far. I do think we need some color to our overall image. So I'm going to add a gradient map, and then I'm just going to choose I do kind of like the way that looks. And I just want to choose one that'll give a nice kind of uniform color to our whole image. Now, I will say we're going to turn these down so they won't be quite that strong. Let's turn this down to about 33. Just a little nice kind of accent right there. I want to go back to my levels and really just kind of increase our contrast. You'll notice, like by bringing the darks down and the highlights up, just really making everything pop a little bit. So you notice before and after. Let me go back to our original. And I think the way these yellows kind of shine is really a unique look. And I really like the way it looks. Let me go through and see if there's anything else I want to do before I finish up this design. I really love the detail on the Kobe trophy. He has that cool shadow. I guess that's cool. Only it looks like there's a line. Do you see that? Kind of like right here. There's a line. So I'm just going to hide that for now. We really want that trophy to be nice and shiny because, ooh, there we go. Because that's kind of the centerpiece of this design. And it's not every day you get to work with like a shiny metallic look. So we really want it to look awesome. So it looks like he has the same kind of hard line right here. Maybe it's just when I moved the trophy over, it didn't drag over. But I'm just going to take a brush with my flow down to about 21. And I'm going to make sure the hardness is all the way down. I'm just going to lightly brush this edge to take off any hard lines that might be there. And then it looks like he had that shadow, so I'm just going to bring a layer up. For the sake of simplicity, just take a black brush and just paint in a shadow just like that. Again, I'm going to turn my fill down. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe you turn it down a little bit more. And there's just a little subtle shadow. But guys, I think that's it. I think this is all the tweaks I would make to this design. Again, great work, PKP Creative. Love what you've done, especially so many of your different designs on your Instagram are outstanding. Thank you for sharing this one with us. But let's go back and compare the original and the new one. I think that new layout really helps improve just like the overall flow of the design. It's easier to kind of see the centerpiece and then the two side elements. But that's it, guys. If you enjoyed watching this video and you want to see more videos in this series, make sure you drop a like on this video, and I'll be sure to keep on putting out editing your designs videos. That being said, if you want to have your designs edited themselves, make sure you send us a message on Instagram and just say, hey, would love to have my design be critiqued and edited. I would love to do more of these videos. Just make sure that when you do, send over the PSD so I can go through on the layers and make the tweaks themselves. I've had a couple of people reach out and say, hey, will you edit this? And they'll just send like a JPEG image, and there's not really anything I can do with that. So make sure you send the PSD if you do in fact send it over. Other than that, I do want to say a quick thanks for everyone that bought the stickers and the t-shirts that went live. If you follow us on Instagram, you heard about that first, but it's actually kind of overwhelming how many people bought stickers and shirts. I wasn't anticipating that many people being interested in sports design school stuff, but guys, thank you so much. I appreciate that. If you're not subscribed to our channel already, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And other than that, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a good one.